When doing any type of excavation work, preventing damage to utility lines is critical for safe and productive work. The damage prevention process relies on a number of different parties doing their part. Today we'll take a look at how the process begins, we'll spend some time with field technicians who locate and mark underground facilities, and we'll cover safety procedures for working near facilities. Working together is essential, because safety is everyone's business. Every time you dig in Wisconsin, you are required by state law to file a locate request with Diggers Hotline. You can do this on the phone by dialing 811 or through one of the online options. Once you file your ticket, you will have to wait 3 working days before you are clear to dig. Remember that state holidays and weekends do not count as working days, so always plan ahead. The information you provide to Diggers Hotline is relayed to the member utility companies who may have buried facilities near your dig site. The member companies are then responsible for marking their own facilities within those 3 working days. Some facility owners have their own locators on staff, while others use a contract locating company. A locator's day starts early and doesn't end until every ticket due that day has been handled. Lots of driving and lots of walking are part of the typical day. Locators help save lives by accurately locating underground lines. It has to be done right every time, thousands of times a year. To locate the facilities, the field technician will usually put a low-voltage electric signal on the target facility and uses a receiver, not a metal detector, to track the signal from the tracer wire buried with the facility. Using electronic locating equipment may look easy, but it takes specialized training and practice to do it right. Once the location of the underground line is determined, it is marked with color-coded paint and flags. Color code reference cards are available from Diggers Hotline at no charge. If a facility is larger than 2 inches, it may be labeled with its diameter or might be marked on each outside edge. If there are no buried facilities at your dig site, you may receive a phone call, or you may see clear flags indicating that your dig site is clear. Keep in mind that not all facility owners will call or use clear flags. Also be aware that most pipelines, electric transmission, and fiber optic operators may want to be on site when work is being done near their facilities. This is one reason why it is important to provide accurate field contact information on your ticket. And remember that private buried facilities such as propane lines, electric lines to outbuildings, yard lights, parking lot lights, and sprinkler systems will not be marked after you file your locate request with Diggers Hotline. Contact the property owner or a private locating company to have these lines marked. Locators rely on the information provided to them on the ticket to help find the job site and determine what to mark at the job site. You can help locators by providing as much detail as possible, such as landmarks, alternative road names, and names of new subdivisions in the remarks field. Additionally, you should provide information to narrow down the area that needs to be marked. For example, avoid using "mark entire lot" and instead use marking instructions that describe where it is you will be digging. It speeds up the entire process if locators only mark the area where the work is being done. Whitelining the job site before the locator gets there is the most direct and efficient way to communicate with the locator. When an excavator has pre-marked the job site with white paint or flags, the locator knows the exact area that needs to be marked, eliminating any confusion or questions. Excavating before all facilities are marked is simply dangerous. Don't do it. If you arrive at your job site before the start date and time and see marks, you still aren't cleared to dig. Other locators may still be en route to mark, and you can't be sure until the start date and time passes. If the start date and time has passed and you still don't see marks, look for facility indicators such as marker posts, meters, pedestals, and equipment enclosures. If you see any of these indicators, there are likely buried facilities nearby. Call Diggers Hotline for a relocate or call the facility owner for assistance. Emergency locates are a fact of life and take priority over all other work. But what somebody may see as an emergency might not actually be an emergency. Please respect the law's definition of an emergency. Excavation needed because of a condition that poses a clear and immediate danger to life or health or a significant loss of property.
Some emergencies that I've gone to are gas leaks, an electric fault where the power is out, and sometimes even a hit line where a contractor may have hit a line and needs to get fixed right away.
Hey, we're going to be crossing this street today with some gas, and with the rain and person mowing their lawn and stuff, most of the marks are wiped out. I was wondering if I could get you to relocate that over there.
Relocates are an important tool for excavators to ensure they are working safely. Missing marks, marks wiped out by weather or construction activity are good reasons to file a relocate. Submitting a relocate because you aren't planning on being at a job site for 10 days is not a good reason. Adding unnecessary relocates is a burden on the utility locators and an abuse of the damage prevention process. To be clear, if you are at a job site and the marks need refreshing, definitely call in a relocate. For more information, see the Digger's Hotline Excavator Manual. Locators have the responsibility of accurately marking buried facilities, but you have the responsibility of respecting the marks and working safely near them. Powered equipment should not be used within the tolerance zone. This zone is 18 inches on either side of the outside edge of the mark, or if the width is indicated, you must add half of the width to each side of the tolerance zone. Once a facility is exposed by hand digging or vacuum excavation, the tolerance zone is reduced to 12 inches or twice the known cutting edge of the equipment. If you are digging without filing a locate request or not respecting the marks, you will eventually hit an underground line. Damage to any type of buried facility will lead to problems. Let's start with communication lines, like a fiber optic cable. Damage to these lines have taken 911 emergency services offline and wiped out air traffic control abilities at airports. Many businesses rely on data and voice for their day-to-day operations. Taking that away is taking away their revenue, not to mention the expensive repair bills for your company. If you damage a fiber optic line, never look into the end of it. Laser lights can cause eye injury. And don't forget about overhead lines. Snagging an overhead communication line with your equipment can cause electric lines to fall into your work area. Contacting an electric line either underground or overhead is extremely dangerous. Electric current is always seeking a path to ground. If you touch equipment that is in contact with an electric line, you are the path for the current to reach ground. So remember the following. If your equipment comes in contact with an electric line, stay on your equipment and warn others to stay away. As long as you are on the equipment, you will not become the path to ground. Have someone call the facility owner as soon as possible for assistance. If you are in imminent danger because of fire, jump clear of the equipment without allowing your body to touch the ground and any part of the equipment at the same time. Once on the ground, keep your feet together and shuffle away. If a line is not arcing or sparking, don't assume it's safe. It still may be energized, or it can become re-energized at any time. Working near natural gas or flammable liquid facilities also requires care. A natural gas or flammable liquids leak may smell like rotten eggs or oil. You may also hear a hissing, blowing, or roaring sound. If you notice any of these signs, do the following. Eliminate all ignition sources, including equipment, cell phones, and lighters. Immediately evacuate the area. If you can still smell the gas or flammable liquid, you are too close. Move further away and stay upwind. Never attempt to stop a leak. Static electricity on the pipe can cause ignition if you touch it. Never try to bury a leak. The product can migrate underground and could find a remote ignition source. Remember that natural gas is lighter than air and will quickly dissipate into the atmosphere. Other petroleum products are heavier than air and will collect in ditches and pits. Call 911 from a safe location and notify the facility owner as soon as possible. It's also important to know the signs of a possible underground natural gas leak, which include brown spots or dead patches, dirt blowing from a hole, and water bubbling or being blown into the air. Now let's review some of the key safety procedures. File a locate request with Digger's Hotline before you dig, every time. White line the dig site whenever possible and provide detailed information in the marking instructions. Do not start work before your start date and time. If marks are missing or are wiped out, call for a relocate. And never use powered digging equipment within the 18-inch tolerance zone of a marked facility. By following these safety procedures, you are doing your part to keep the job site safe. Because safety is everyone's business.